What's going on, guys? I'm going to talk about something a little bit different now. This is something I've never really spoke about. This is something that a lot of people have always asked about, and I've kind of just ignored it and avoided the question. But a lot of people do know, a lot of people don't know. The people that do know, they've always asked about my life when I joined the bikie club, and they always wanted to know why I left, and a few other questions that I won't really get into, because I understand there's boys out there still living that life, and some things I say might, come into effect with that, and I don't want to talk about that, So the reason I kind of left is because, like, with all the jail and that, I had a massive change of mind and a massive change of heart. So I really wanted to become a family man because I missed out on so much time with my family. So in saying that, like, I kind of wanted to leave behind the whole fighting, the whole tough guy act and all that shit, you know what I mean? So it's funny because it's just one day I was just like, you know what, like, I'm just sick of fighting, I'm sick of arguing, I'm sick of having to watch around, like, behind my back. I'm just sick of it. I just want to be a family man. I just want to be there for my kids. And the constant thought of like, not knowing when the day would come that someone would, like, kill me or even, like, get me in front of my family, and I don't want to fight in front of my family. I don't want them to see that shit. So I was always worrying, like, what if I go out one day and I'm with my family and I see someone else and they just want to fight me, or they want to kill me, you know what I mean? It's not fair on my family. So I was just like, you know what, I kind of had a change of heart. And plus, when I got out from doing, like, the 2.5, 3 years, I ended up going back in. No one knew about this. So I went back in for a couple months, and when I went back in that time, I ran into a lot of my boys in there, and they all were telling me things. They were all telling me this and that about my boys in my chapter. They were saying, all your boys are leaving, this and that, what are you doing? And I was like, well, if they're leaving, like, I'm leaving too. There's no point me staying. So I got told all these things that, to be honest, I didn't even know if they were true or not, but I'd assume they weren't really true. And they were telling me, so they're going somewhere else, what are you doing? And I was like, well, I'm just leaving, And then word got back to my boys before I got out to tell them myself that I was in there saying I was going to leave and this and that, but no one told them that they told me that everyone else was leaving, you know what I mean? So it was kind of like my boys were wondering why I was running around saying that without telling them. But anyway, yeah, like, it's hard to live like that, because not only am I just living for myself no more, I ain't got to just worry about myself. I got to worry about everything that I do plays a big part of the boys as well. So, you know what I mean? Like, I used to always get in trouble for, like, simple things, like the things I'd put on social media. So I'd put things up on social media, and it didn't just impact me no more, it impacted a whole club. So if I was, like, say, because I was going through a lot of shit, I was going through depression, bipolar, all them things like that. So I'd put up silly things on Facebook and in Instagram and that, and I'd understand what they were saying, because people would look at it and go, look at this cunt, and it'd impact the whole club. It'd give the whole club a bad name. So cunts were getting dirty at me saying, stop fucking doing this shit, you're making us all look bad. And I understand that. So it was very hard at times, and I honestly really got sick of letting people down, I really got sick of, like, my mental health was not good at all, and at the same time I felt like I couldn't really get help because I felt weak for doing that, you know what I mean? I felt weak for reaching out and asking for help, because I was supposed to be some big bad fucking bikie, but yeah, not reaching out really made it worse. And there was a point there where, I tried to fucking end it, and like, it didn't work, because I tried to overdose on fucking pills, and I ended up just like, I did overdose. I ended up taking fucking a fuckload of pills, and I don't really remember much, because it was like half a box of Seroquel and probably half a bottle of Xanax. That's all I had. I remember that my body shutting down, and, like, I was kind of, like, foaming from the mouth, and then I woke up in a hospital, and I tried to, like, fight the security guards, because I was, like, pretty much chained to a bed, and I tried to fight security guards and whatnot, so they sent me straight to a mental hospital. And yeah, I woke up in the mental hospital kind of like, what the fuck, what am I here for, what's going on here? And I was trying to convince them people, like, bro, like, what the fuck, like, I'm not crazy, you know what I mean? And they're like, yeah, you tried to kill yourself. I was like, no way I did. But yeah, apparently I did. So you know, that it really played a big toll on my mental health, because I was with the boys for about 5 years, you know, and throughout that 5 years I spent a good 5 years just trying to prove myself to these boys that, you know, I was really down to ride for them and like die for them. And I did do a lot of things for them that I'm not going to mention, and I did in jail, I did, you know, a lot of things as well. And it's kind of hard in jail because there was times where I ended up at a jail by myself, and I was the only one there by myself, and it's not like you can just like pretend that you're not with them or anything. You have to like go fucking hard for them. And yeah, there was a time when I was in a jail with a bunch of boys. There was heaps of boys, probably like 60 boys that all hated the crew I was with, you know. And I got sent to that jail that night, and a week before there was a bunch of my boys there that had a big drama. They got into a big brawl, so I was kind of like, fuck, you know, I got sent straight into the mess, you know. And these boys knew who I was, they knew who I was with, and that whole night I was like, fuck man, what the fuck am I gonna do? And the guy I come with on the truck, he come from a jail where you could get the long toothbrushes, and I was kind of like, it's the only thing we got. So I was like, bro, I'm taking your toothbrush, I'm making a shiv out of it, and I'm going to war. And he's like, well, if you're going to war, I'm going to war with you. I didn't know this bloke, I can't really remember him either, but he's a sick cunt. He's like, I'm going to war with you, you know. I was like, yeah, sweet. Walked out the next morning, and all these boys were just staring at me, but the whole wing was staring at me, and I was like, all right, well, this is it, you know, this is it, I gotta go on with it. And one of the boys there, he's a real close brother of mine now. He's one of the boys from Tamworth. He's in a crew, BTBB, Back to Back Brothers. He come up to me, he introduced himself, and he's like, you know, like we had a conversation and whatnot, and he's like, I just wanted to let you know that the boys are fucking sussing you out, you know what I mean? He goes, but I got ya, you seem like a good cunt, I got ya, you know. I was like, yeah, sweet, brother, mad. So there was like 3 of us against this whole wing. Anyway, halfway through the day, all these boys are like, hey bro, come up here. Heaps of boys called me up in the cell, and I was kind of like, alright, this is it, this is where it kicks off, you know. I was like, there's nothing I can do, I have to go up in the cell, I have to just give it my best crack, you know. I ran up into the cell, and the 2 boys that said they had my back, they didn't see this. They were doing something else. And it's not like I'm going to go to these boys and call these boys, because I look weak, I feel weak. So I was just like, fuck it, bro, I'm just going to have to do this. As I was walking up the steps into this cell, the BTBB lad seen me, and he come running up behind me. These boys were kind of like, I don't know, they were asking me questions. It's like they were half putting the hard word on me, but half not, just to see how I'd react. And then old mate come flying in, and he's like, what the fuck's going on, you know? And I later found out that this guy was like a blade happy cunt. He was a blade runner, and he had stabbed a lot of cunts in the system. So a lot of people were like really weary on this guy, you know. Whatever he would say, that everyone would just listen. And he was like, you know, fucking, this is my brother. If he's got a problem with him, he's got a problem with me, you know. So he kind of saved me, I'm not gonna lie, he kind of saved me. And yeah, I fucking, because of that, I was really close with him. And he had drummers, so all my boys, this was at Wellington, all my boys were in A wing at Wellington, this was in F wing at Wellington. I was the only one that went to F wing. He had drummers with all my boys in A wing, and we had drummers with all them in F wing. So it was kind of fucked. But anyway, I ended up, I was all right there. It was a bit of a tension, but whatnot. And then later on, probably a week later, the screws come up to me and said, hey, there's a spot in A wing, did you want to go over there? And I was kind of like, I do want to go, but I don't want to look like that guy that just gets the fuck out of there, you know. So I said to the screws, I said, you know, I don't know, let me speak to the boys. I ran around to all the boys and I said, listen boys, I'm going over to A-Wing soon. And I ended up telling the screw, I said, just give me a couple more hours here to say bye to all the boys and whatnot. All right, no worries. So I went around to all the boys and I said, listen, I'm going to A-Wing. I'll catch us all later, you know. So that way it's kind of like I told all these boys, I said, listen, I'm going over there in about an hour or two. In other words, you know, like I'm not just going without letting you know. So if you want to do anything, this is your turn now. Like, I didn't want it to happen, but I didn't want to be that guy that just gapped it out of nowhere. So I went around and told everyone, and nothing happened. And later on, probably a month later, the bloke that had my back, he ended up going on escort down to Sydney, and he ended up coming back. And when he come back, they put him into A-Wing. So the wing where he had drama with all my boys, something happened. Like I said, something happened before I come up and he was involved in it and whatnot. So all my boys wanted to get him. So now it was my turn to make sure he was all right in my wing. All the boys, when he was coming over, they were saying, he's coming here. Everyone blade up because he's known to stab people and we're going to get him. So I was kind of like, you know what, boys, it ain't happening, bro, because this can't save me over there. So like I'm making sure he's all right. And then they kind of said, well, like, what you go, you know what I mean? You're with him, you're with us. And I said, listen, bro, he saved me over there. I'm not letting nothing happen to him, bro. It's as simple as that, you know. And then the boys were kind of like, all right, we'll leave it at that. But if he starts anything, you know it's going to kick off. And I said, I'll have a word with him. As soon as he come in, you could see he's a little bit on edge, but I knew this guy, he can hold his own. He don't give a fuck. So I walked up to him and I was the first one to walk up to him. I'd done some laps with him and he goes, so what's the go for your boys, you know? I said, listen, bro, you help me out, I'm helping you out. And he's kind of like, do they want to go on with it or not? And I said, nah. I told him they're not going on with it. Like, I said, if you want to have a one-on-one with someone, you can have a one-on-one with someone, but that's all it is. I said, please, no blades, just a fair one-on-one. He's like, all right, we'll speak to your boys, see if they want to have a one-on-one with me, and we'll just leave it at that, you know. And anyways, it was all good. Everything was all sorted, and he ended up staying in the wing. And yeah, he ended up being a real close brother of mine. I'm still in contact with him today, so that's pretty good. But yeah, like as you can see by the little small conversation I've just said with you now, it's a pretty hectic life to live, you know. And it is harder in jail because it's like you just don't know who's going to come through, or you don't know when you're going to get sent somewhere else. And at the end of my sentence, I thought I was finishing at Wellington. I ended up getting tipped straight to Bathurst, so I was kind of like, all right, here we go, we're at a new jail now, we'll see what's at this new jail. I was all right at Bathurst as well, but yeah, fucking, it's just always constantly having to worry. And then also, like, just not just worrying just about myself, but worrying about the whole club's reputation. So whatever I do is gonna fall back on all of the boys, and that's the main thing that was like getting to me, you know what I mean? Because I was going through a lot of shit, and then at that time in my life, I just wanted to just be a family guy. I just wanted to work. I just wanted to do just a normal thing, and I didn't want to let all these boys down, you know. And when I got out, I was on NA, so I couldn't associate with anyone, and I couldn't go near anyone, otherwise I'd go straight back to jail. And all the boys wanted to catch up with me and all that, and I was kind of like, boys, like, I can't hang around just because I'll get in shit, you know. And at the same time, the boys were like, yeah, all right, but they were kind of thinking, is this cunt going soft now? Like, what's he worried about? But to be honest, I kind of did go soft. And I just wasn't interested no more. There was a lot of boys that I had big dramas with. I used to, whenever we'd see each other and bump into each other, we'd punch on the spot, and it'd be a full war. And at that point in time, I got out and I ended up seeing one of these guys, and I was with heaps of boys and he was alone, and I was kind of like, you know what, fuck it, bro, I'm not interested in this no more. A few of the boys was like, what do you want to do about it? And I said, nothing, just leave it. And yeah, I left it. And at that point in time, I kind of knew I was like growing up and growing out of that stuff, you know. So I was like, fuck it, like, the last thing I want to do is, I don't want to be out with my family and then I am willing to let something go. Someone comes up to me while I'm with my family and tries to do something, and I'm just like, just leave it at that. Then word goes around that this guy in this club dropped his nuts or whatever, and then the whole club gets impacted from that. So I was like, I'm not going to do that to the boys. I'm not going to let the boys' reputation go to shit because of me, because I've had a change of heart. And I didn't really get to speak to the boys about that before like I went back to jail, and then all the boys in jail were telling me this and that and that, and then word got back to my boys, and my boys were kind of like, well, why is this cunt saying this and that to them, but he's not telling us, you know? And yeah, like as you can imagine, they weren't too happy about it, because from all they know, it was just I was in there like saying another thing, but when I was out I was doing another thing. But the thing is, I didn't really get a chance to catch up with my boys to let them know how I was feeling, and that I was having a change of heart, you know. And a big part of that was trying to like explain to them as best I could, because I didn't know how to. I was like, how do I explain to them that I'm having a change of heart? Like I don't want to do this anymore, and in the process I don't want to let anyone down and make anyone have a bad reputation from this. So it was hard trying to think of a way to explain that to the boys, you know, because I didn't want to upset them at the same time, but the last thing I want to do is ruin their reputation as well, you know, because a lot of these boys have been in this for life, and they've done a lot of things to get this good reputation, and it'll be shit for someone like me to, you know, come in for a short amount of time and just ruin their reputation, you know. So yeah, that's one of the reasons. Well, that is the reason why I left, you know, because I just felt like I wasn't me anymore. I just wasn't built for it, you know. And as well, like when I first joined, I was really into riding. I was really keen to get a Harley and go for big rides and all that shit. And then halfway through, I was just kind of like, you know what, I'm not even interested in riding no more. I'm not even interested. Like, I just want to spend time with my family and just be a family man. Like, I want to show my kids that I'm a hard worker, and, you know, hard work pays off, and this and that. And I'm not saying you can't do that and be in a club as well, but at the same time, I was too caught up on the like trying to be a like badass kind of side, you know. And the club and chapter I was with, they had a really good reputation for being like tough guys, you know, real tough guys that don't take no shit. And yeah, I was kind of having a change in heart, and I was like, I'm not going to ruin that. All this hard work and effort that these boys are putting to that, I'm not going to ruin that because I've had a change of heart, you know. So it was a hard thing to do. It was really hard, and yeah, like it really made me start to regret all my decisions from the start. And it's not that I had like second thoughts about any of the boys. There was a lot of good boys I met, and there's still like a lot of good boys that I still associate, or not associate with, but I mean, if I was to bump into them, I would like say hello and not whatnot. And yeah, like it was nothing to do with that. It was just the whole fact that I was having a change of heart, and like from here on in, I just wanted to leave my whole life behind, which means all the enemies that I would see from here on in, I just didn't want nothing to do with it. I just wanted to leave it, and I didn't want that to impact the whole club. So I was like, it's best for me to just go, just do my own thing, and that way, if something does happen to me, or someone does come up to try to fight me or whatever, and I can walk away from it. I can back down. I can say, listen, I don't want to do this no more, and it's not going to impact the whole club, you know. So yeah, that's that. And yeah, a lot of people, a lot of the boys in the club were curious as to why I left, because when I first like joined up, I was so keen for everything. I was willing to do everything. I was doing as much as I could, and it's like as soon as I went to jail and come out, these cunts were like, this cunt's gone soft. But yeah, it's just a simple fact that I had spent a long time away from my family, and I started to feel bad, especially for my partner, because she never wanted me to do this stuff. When I told her I was joining, she was like, what the fuck, like, what are you fucking doing, man? She knew what I was like deep down. She knew I actually had a heart, and I actually cared about people and whatnot. So she knew that like I shouldn't be really doing this. And I just kind of left her and ignored her. So she did pay a big price for all of this, and she could have left me so many times, but she didn't, especially when I went to jail. Like I said to her, I was looking at 7 years, and I said to her, like, go, while I'm in here now, you're best going and starting a new life. And she was like, I'm not doing that to you. And I said, go, like, it's easier for you now while I'm in here, so you can't see me doing other things and whatnot. So you go now and find someone else, be happy, you know, because our house was always getting raided. She was getting pulled over and searched. Like, they'd come into my house, they'd kick my door in, they'd pepper spray her. They pepper sprayed her when she was pregnant, they pepper spray my dog. Like, the cops were just terrorizing the shit out of me, bro. And I just kept racking up more charges and charges and charges, because I don't know, I felt invincible in a way. And it played a big toll on my missus and also my daughter at the time too, always having cops kicking our doors in, searching our houses, going through all my stuff and everything, and their stuff, and just messing shit up. So when I went to jail, I was kind of like, go be happy, find someone else. And she said, I'm not leaving you while you're in jail. Like, you're at your lowest point right now. She goes, I'm staying with you no matter how long you do. And she goes, and if I have a change of heart after you get out, then we'll figure it out. So I spent a lot of time in there just thinking about how much of a soldier this chick was. A lot of females will wait till their man goes to jail and then leave, and she was like, I'm not leaving no matter what. And she showed up every single weekend. She put money in every single week. She done a lot of things for me while I was in there. She ran around, done this, that, everything. And I was just like, you know what, when I get out, I need to prove to her that, like, I really do love her, I really do appreciate it, and I'm really going to change for her. So that's what I done. I made sure I done it. Especially there was a lot of people, her friends in her ear, saying that it's just him in jail, that's just jail talk. When he gets out, he's not gonna, like, he's gonna change, he's gonna go back to himself, and I just wanted to prove everyone wrong. And I made sure I did. So like, it's hard, it's hard because I still do cop shit for it. I still get pulled over all the time. Whenever I pass cops, I get pulled over, and I get strip searched and this and that. I still fall under all these bikie laws and everything like that. It's still hard, but it is my decision that I made from the get-go, so I got to pay the price for it, and I can't whinge about it, you know what I mean? So it is what it is. I'm still here today. I'm still doing my best. I'm working now as much as I can. I'm not interested in, like, breaking the law. I'm not interested in trying to be a hard cunt. I'm not interested in fighting or arguing. It's funny enough, but when I left and I decided to turn my life around, I bumped into my biggest enemy. So the guy who, no matter what, we'd see each other, we'd punch on. I bumped into him straight away, and he was like, right, bro, let's go, you cunt, And I was kind of like, listen, bro, like, I'm not doing it. He's like, what do you mean? I said, I'm not fighting you, bro, like, I'm walking away. And he goes, fuck, what the fuck, like, what the, he was confused, And I felt like a mad bitch, bro. It was a big hit to my ego, because he was with a lot of boys too, and I was with one of my mates as well. So it was very hard for me to back down from that. I felt like a proper bitch, bro. I didn't sleep that night. I was like, what are these people all thinking of me, bro? Like, what the fuck did I just do? I backed down from this fight. And it was just a part of me saying, that's just the universe testing you. That's just the universe being like, all right, you said you're turning your life around, you said that you changed. Well, how about we put your biggest enemy in front of you and see how you really act? So it was kind of hard to get over, but once I got over it and I realized, I'm not living life to impress anyone else. I'm living life to make a good life for me and my kids and my missus, So I eventually just got over it, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, bro. I've ran into heaps of people that have tried to be mad cunts or whatever, and I've just walked away from it. It's hard. It still is hard to this day, because I was like brought up to not take shit. My mum always said, if someone tries to bully you or pick on you or whatever, don't fucking take their shit. Hit them, She says, the only reason I'll never get mad at you if you get suspended from school or whatever is if someone was trying to pick on you and you bashed them. So that's what I was taught growing up, and it's just in me now. So it's very hard to walk away from them things, but at the same time, bro, I'm not getting caught up in all that shit. I mean, if someone comes up and punches me or fucks with me or my kids or my family or whatever, then I will go on with it. But if someone just wants to fight over something stupid, bro, like, it's not worth it for me, There's one time some guy seen me and he goes, hey, he was fucking off his head, he was smashing. He goes, you're that fucking cunt off TikTok, eh? And I was like, yeah, bro, yeah, I was like, what's going on? He goes, like, nah, not much, brother. But I was in a hurry, and I was like, anyways, bro, I gotta go. And I kind of walked off, and he goes, hey, he goes, don't be a fucking rude cunt. And part of me just fired up, and I told myself to turn around and say, like, what cunt? And I was like, oh, and I was, fuck, just keep walking. So I was like, fuck, I just kept walking, and this cunt's like, you fucking rude cunt. He goes, that's what you fucking get for putting your face all over TikTok or some shit. And I was kind of like, listen, he smashed anyways, so I have an advantage from the get-go if something does happen. So I'm not I'm not gonna take that. I don't fucking use advantages, you know what I mean? So I was like, fuck it, just keep walking. And I just kept walking, bro. Again, I was like, fuck, this cunt's gonna think I'm a bitch, and everyone around's gonna be like, this cunt's a bitch. But what's the point of fighting? What's the point of getting in trouble? What, I fight this guy, and it's in the middle of a shopping center. I scare all these kids and families and whatnot, and then I end up getting charged and probably go to jail for it. No way, bro. No way. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that shit. You know, I got a life to live. I got kids to be a role model for. I got a missus to make sure I'm there for. You know, so yeah, that's pretty much the story. You know, without going too far in depth, but that's pretty much the story.